Later on that Sunday afternoon, the children are in the living room. They're playing a game. The defendant comes in and he becomes angry with the kids. He wants them to put the game away and stop playing. Candace wants the kids to be able to keep playing, keep enjoying themselves. This infuriates the defendant, and he starts to argue with Candace. They go back to their bedroom, and there the defendant attacks Candace. He starts to hit her, punch her several times in face and head. He knocks her down to the floor. And while she's down on the floor, he steps out and he goes to the kitchen. He grabs the steak knife from the drawer, from the tray of silverware. He brings that steak knife back into the bedroom. And while Candace is still on the floor, the defendant plunges this knife straight through her chest, right through her sternum, all the way through the entire length of that knife, slicing the arteries of her heart and causing her to bleed out in seconds. The defendant doesn't call for an ambulance. The defendant doesn't render any kind of first aid. The defendant doesn't call for any kind of help. Instead, the defendant grabs a blanket. He covers Candace so that he doesn't have to see her again. He turns the AC down all the way to turn the house into a freezer-type unit so that people don't notice the body. He takes the kids to the babysitter. And then he comes back to the house. Gathers his clothes, stuff he wants, waits until the next day, and then heads to Birmingham, Alabama, stealing Candace's car and her credit card in the process. Now, he's not going to Birmingham to visit family or friends. He's going to Birmingham because he wants to get on TV. He believes that the folks who make the reality crime TV show, The First 48, are out in Birmingham. And he just killed somebody, and he wants to be famous. He goes on a buying spree while he's there, starts buying clothes, shoes, and is later arrested in the parking lot of a strip club.
The story begins several years before that when Bobby Lee met Candace when they started dating some years back. Started dating like a lot of young couples do. Developed affection for each other. Fell in love. Became very close. Now Candace had 3 young children. None of those children were by Bobby Lee. But Bobby Lee took to those kids like they were his own. And he stepped in and helped Candace raise those kids. At some point during the relationship, Bobby Lee and Candace moved in together. And like most couples, early in the relationship, it's the honeymoon phase. Everything's great. They even talked about getting married. They were living together like man and wife, living like family, but they weren't legally married. Well, like most couples, after the honeymoon phase wears off, problems arise. That's not unusual. Bobby Lee couldn't find work. Candace developed interest in another man. There were some problems in the relationship. Well, on May 27th of 2012, things came to a head, and they had an argument. And it started off about something relatively insignificant. But sometimes, as arguments do, it escalated. Tempers flared on both sides. There's talk about breaking up. There's talk about Candace's interest in another man, possibly going to be with another man. This took place in the bedroom of their home on Lafayette Drive. And at some point during this argument, when things escalated, it got physical. Keep in mind, there are only 2 people in that room. So when you hear the testimony, put the story together, keep in mind, there were only 2 folks in that room. During that fight, Candace grabbed a knife that happened to be in the bedroom. Nobody went to the kitchen to get a knife and bring it in the bedroom. It happened to be in the bedroom. Bobby Lee had that knife in there earlier because he was trying to fix a toy that one of the kids had, some kind of bubble gum machine he was working on. So the knife was already in there. And Candace grabbed the knife and they scuffled over it. And somehow during that scuffle, Bobby Lee gets the knife away from her and he does wind up stabbing her with it. At that point, he was scared. He just takes off. When you listen to the story, what we expect you'll see is that Bobby Lee, on May 27, 2012, he acted as a result of a sudden, violent, irresistible passion. And under Georgia law, that's called manslaughter, not murder. Remember those words, please.